Welcome to Black Belt Selling with Stephanie and Anna Scheller. I'm Anna.
And I'm Stephanie.
We're a mother-daughter team who are passionate about helping you break through those obstacles that are keeping you from making more sales, making more money, and enjoying the life of your dreams. You can learn more about us by going to facebook.com/groups/Black Belt Selling. Ask to join us there. We post a lot of good things. We invite people to post motivational stuff to help you stay motivated on your journey, because when you make the commitment to become a black belt in sales, you make a strong commitment, and there are times you're discouraged, but we want you to be encouraged. We want to help you grow. We want to help you become an expert so that you can be like our guest who's going to join us today. We have with us Justin Devonshire. Justin, welcome to Black Belt Selling.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Justin lives in Cyprus, and he just got back from being in Dubai, which that must have been very, very difficult to be in Dubai. I saw your pictures, by the way. They were.
Oh, okay. You're following me on Facebook, huh?
Yes, I am a Facebook stalker. I will warn you of that. But Justin helps coaches, experts, trainers, and speakers attract more clients and create scalable income by creating expert authority positioning quickly. He's an international speaker, as I've already alluded to, and trainer, and he works personally with, Stephanie, get this, 7- and 8-figure coaching and speaking businesses. Was this the right guy to get on the show, or what?
I've been checking him out for the past about hour and a half in my sleep blurred vision here, but I'm very impressed, Justin. I'm really glad to have you on the show.
Now, Justin, you have a signature program, which I hope you'll be sharing with our listeners here later in the show, but it's called the Expert Authority Blueprint. And, we're going to just let Justin talk about that later, but right now, I think our listeners, Stephanie, are going to be fascinated to know how Justin got started. I have the inside scoop because I get to talk to these folks before we get them on the show. So, Justin, tell us, how did you get into talking and working with coaches? And so young, you're very young.
Okay, well, I'm 30 right now, so some call that young, some call it old. I'm not sure. It depends which side you're on, I suppose. And so, yeah, I've got a bit of a long story, so I'll try and give the listeners the real juicy bits. But the main part of it is that, I've probably been through most things that you could even think about going through in trying and failing to get a good sustainable income off the ground, especially in a coaching business, a coaching industry, which is growing rapidly, and there's more competition, and it's harder and harder to stand out. So it first started for me. I've fortunately had a background in helping and teaching people way back since I was 16. When I first got my black belt, actually in martial arts, and I became an instructor after that. So from the age of 16, 17, I was already teaching people, coaching them on martial arts, mindset, personal development, things like that, a bit of fitness. And I first started really growing my own business, really then, my own martial arts students. The thing is, at the time, I didn't really think of it as a business. The saying that ignorance is bliss. So I was doing this like 2 evenings a week with college going on at the same time. Never even considered running a business. That was never even in my vocabulary. I don't have entrepreneurial parents, nothing in the family like that. So I was just doing what I love to do. I was just serving people, and I was doing a lot of things which I'll kind of touch on later. I was doing things that now I would call marketing and sales, right? But I didn't realize at the time.
The best way to do it too, right?
Yeah. And literally within 6 months of going out there on my own for the first time, I had over 200 students across 5 classes. So I was this kind of young and pretty stupid 17-year-old with probably, with more money than a stupid young 17-year-old should have coming in. and in a way it served me. So, I got everything out of my system. I bought the nice cars. I took my friends out for weekend trips. And I did all these kind of crazy things. But then one day my parents sat me down and had the talk and said, Justin, we know you enjoy your martial arts and everything, but when are you going to get a real job? And
Ouch.
yeah. And, I was like, yeah, I should start thinking about my life a bit properly and, and get a job in an office or something, because that was just the conditioning I went through. That was just what was expected. Right. And, you can't make money from a hobby. That's crazy talk. Right. So, in the normal world. So I packed it all in, just literally gave it up. And then I went and started studying in fitness. And at the same time, I also sustained a few injuries in martial arts, which meant I obviously wasn't good enough to go pro because I was getting beaten up all the time. So I then transitioned into fitness and started helping athletes, martial artists, football players, and so on, help them build muscle, get in shape, and be better for their sport. And that's what led me to being a personal trainer. And of course, I would still teach mindset, behavioral change, stuff like that. And so that was my first martial arts, up and then gone. I started as a fitness coach. That's when I left the UK, where I'm from originally, and I moved over to Cyprus to kind of start my career, my business over here in like nice sunny Mediterranean climate. And again, I kind of went out on my own and didn't work in the beginning too well because I didn't have family around to support me or anything like that. I was going out there on my own, and about 3 or 4 months later, after struggling to get clients in, then I had my eviction notice, because apparently when you don't pay rent for 3 months, you get kicked out. That was a new experience to me. Right? I had to not pay my rent anymore. So that's when really the things really started turning for me, and I realized I had to make it work. The feeling when you're afraid, you have fear or procrastination over things, but then when the meets the road and you have to do something, the fear just disappears and you go and take action.
Do it. Yeah.
So that is when I then rapidly built that business. We'll go into the tactics later, I imagine, but I took that then from, struggling with like 3 or 4 clients, earning $600 a month, to 90 days of that decision, then having like just bordering on a 6-figure business then, and that was my fitness business. And then after a few more months, that was all going good. And the only problem is that I was working in the business all the time. So it was very successful, but it was a successful job, not a business. And I found that out the hard way when I discovered one day I had a phone call, and my mother back in the UK had been diagnosed with a brain tumor and needed emergency surgery. So without even thinking about it, again, I had to pack, just pack it all in, fly back to the UK the next day. Luckily, my mother recovered. The surgery went well, and I stayed with her for a good 9 or 10 months. Then she recovered, and I realized again that I was back to square one once again. No income, no clients, no savings, and that's when I decided. Then she was getting better. I wanted to come back to Cyprus, and my whole mindset was different this time, because I was, in a way where a lot of coaches and consultants, especially right now, and entrepreneurs, they're too afraid to outsource, and defer responsibility. Well, an intense emotional situation completely changes your beliefs and your actions. So when I came back into it, I was now actually afraid of doing the work. And, I became addicted to learning about systems, outsourcing, building a team, having people, empower them to do things for me. And, I had to learn the hard way, but obviously it served me. And that's what I do now, is help coaches and consultants not just get clients, not just make sales, but also to do it in a way that will get them to a business and an income and a lifestyle they enjoy, rather than the typical scenario, which is I'm going to rush out, get 2,500 clients, and you have a great money, but you have no relationship, you have no family time, no free time, your health deteriorates, you're always stressed, you can't take a day off without feeling guilty, you're on the phone 24/7, and that's not, I wouldn't call that successful, really. And so I like to help coaches and consultants now, build smart harder and build themselves into a business that can work as time leveraged or as outsourced as possible from day one. Because really, if you think about it, that is the only way you're going to impact a lot more people beyond yourself, and therefore the only real way to create scalable income. So that's kind of a quick version of where I was and where I am now.
Now, I'm curious. I know this is totally off topic. We have our list of agenda here, but I've found when I'm talking with some business owners, and these are business owners, not just coaches, but sometimes they have a very hard time understanding. They have to get to a breaking point where they realize that what they're doing is unsustainable. Have you found the same thing, that people have to reach that breaking point, or have you been able to find a way to help people see that sooner?
Oh yes, Stephanie, definitely. I've developed a saying by this, and that saying is very, very true. And that saying is, either you'll kill your business or the business will kill you.
Oh.
One of those is going to happen first, and they're both very hard ways to learn. So I've found, most people, it is such, the need for certainty is so massive in people. And what's really funny is, there's a lot of the 7-figure coaches I work with, that's usually the problem they come to me with. They're not, a lot of 7-figure coaches, if they're making maybe about $500,000 to about $2 million a year. That's like the totally stretched breaking point. That's as far as they've gone on their own, or with a very, very small team and of assistants rather than actual employees. And I get on the phone with them and I say, let me see if I can describe your situation before you tell me anything. You've got got plenty of money in the bank, the family's looked after, but you're spending all day writing blog posts, doing articles, writing emails, integrating autoresponders, doing lead pages, doing your click funnels, doing all the stock inventory, you're doing all this, you're making all the phone calls, you're answering your own emails, for goodness sake, right? And they're just like, yes, how did you know, right? But the funny thing is, because we have this crazy, this drive for money, which got them to that place, and this financial security craving a lot of people have, they just think they can kind of earn more money to get out of it. They say, I'm dealing with all that. I'm doing, 100 hours a week right now, but I think if we take the business to 5 million, then it'll be okay, right? Then I'll be able to do this, and I just say to them, how about we do this? How about we just been totally radically different to what everyone else has told you? How about for the next 12 months, we retain the business's income. We keep making only 1 million a year, but we set a goal to make that 1 million and shave off and give you 5 hours free a week. Say, can we make that 1 million in 5 hours less a week? That's 20 hours a month. For a lot of entrepreneurs I work with, that can save their health, save their marriage, save their relationship with kids, or even save their life sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow. I really resonate with your message, because I think a lot of people, especially our listening audience, tend to be entrepreneurs. So you're talking about coaches, but the same mindset, the same drive is what locks people into a business turned into a job, as opposed to a business being a sustainable business. And, Justin, your story really is a powerful story, because I think a lot of people, it's a lot of reason people even come to martial arts a lot of times. How many people have come to the martial arts because they had a breaking point, because they were bullied, or I remember I taught a class one time, and these women came to my class. It was a self-defense class. And the reason they came was because the week before they'd had a break-in their home. and they wanted to know how to protect themselves. So, what you're sharing with people, it could be life-saving information. I mean, if people will act on what you have to share. Now, but I'm curious though, how do you gain, one of the things we wanted to ask you about was how do you gain the first 30 clients with no marketing budget? Because now you're talking about helping people grow their business. That means you have to have clients. But if you don't have money, that can almost seem impossible. How do you do it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So this is really the first step, and I'm glad you brought that up, because this is where in the early stages, you are going to have to get out there, do some hustling and prove your product and get the clients in. What I suggest though is that you won't be able to outsource immediately. You might not be able to. But what you can do is if you go about it in the most time leveraged way to start with. So, what I did to go out there and get customers, first of all, was in the kind of coaching industry, it's typical to do one-on-one training. I just didn't do that at all to begin with. I just thought about, training people in groups or in masterminds. So the first thing you want to do before you start, you want to work smart before you work hard. So get the infrastructure correct. Have some kind of time leveraged or scalable model to begin with, that you can be dropping customers in, so your income can go up, but your time cost doesn't go up from the start, because you need that time to do more other important business activities later on. So if you get that right first, then go out there and get the customers. That's going to make things a lot easier in the long run. As for then, assuming you've got something in place like that that's very leverageable, that also, especially in the coaching industry, if you have something that's done in groups, it always brings the cost down for the prospect as well. So it almost makes your sales easier. So, instead of doing one-to-one training, when I first had to go out there in Cyprus and get clients, I thought I can offer one-on-one coaching for, say, $500 per month or something, or I could take 3 or 4 people at once and just charge them each. And then with 4 people, I'm now making $800 rather than $500 for the same time, and it makes the offer more desirable to them, and I can work with more clients overall. Mm-hmm. So there's so many benefits just setting up a smarter infrastructure like that. As for going out and getting people, this is where it's funny. A lot of people today get so caught up in online marketing that they forget how to talk to people and build real relationships. Yeah. So, Benz, if you're talking about local customers, I'll talk about online in just a sec, but with local customers, the first thing is whatever industry you're in, know who your customer is, and then you need to be wherever those people are. I had a vision in my mind. I was looking for, females, busy mums who wanted to lose weight and get in shape for my fitness bootcamp. So I kind of envisioned, I thought about a day in the life of my prospect and said, where's my customer going to be going? What's she going to be looking at? What's she going to be hearing from people? What's she going to be seeing, doing? And I want my message or my advertising materials to be in front of her at least 4 or 5 times every day. So I always say, imagine you have your customer's bank statement or credit card bill, right? If you can find out the top 10 to 20 places that your customer also uses their credit card, like where do they spend their money, that'll take you right to them. So in my case, I started hitting up all the local hair salons, all the nail salons, all the beauty salons, all the schools, coffee shops, nurseries, daycare centers, dance schools, party schools. Literally everywhere, there would be hundreds and hundreds of busy mums. And literally, I just took my time to go into all those places. I didn't send an email. I didn't make a phone call. I walked into those places, wanted to speak to where I was in charge, and I said, "Look, can we set up some win-win relationships. We both serve similar customers, women who want to look and feel good. How about we can work together, cross promote each other. I'll tell my women about you and you tell them about me and so on. I just started really, getting my claws into all the places in the local area. And before, after a few months, literally there was 10 or 20 places in my local area, all funneling prospects to me. And not only that, but wherever my customers went, they just didn't stop hearing about me, because they go to the coffee shop and then there's my poster and the girls talking about it. They go to pick up their kids from school and the mums and the school are talking about it. They'd go somewhere else, and this hair salon, and they'd see the salon giving out my gift cards. So you get that, what we call, omnipresence, where you're just seen everywhere and you can dominate one area very, very quickly and achieve that kind of authority status. It just takes frequency of exposure in a few strategic places. And if you add that with the online side, because now, there's so much cool online stuff to do, a good solid Facebook ad strategy. Right now, did you know you can make a Facebook ads video, and for under $5 a day, you can have maybe 500 to 1,000 people, targeted people, see that video every day. That's the kind of results we're getting right now. So we can be putting Facebook ads out there on their news feeds, on their mobiles, for a very, very low amount of money. Just so people, if they're online or offline, all they see is you. So the final step in this, after you know your customer, you know where they are, you get in front of them, and finally you need an irresistible offer. Okay, and again, if you're starting out, this depends on everyone's budget and what kind of product you've got. It's very different. But for me, what I did is, I didn't even have time to learn like sales skills and things like that. I had to get money like yesterday. So for me, the best way I thought was to let my product sell itself. And I wanted to give everyone a demonstration of my product. Just like if you go and buy a car, they'll give you a test drive, right? Because it's sometimes the fastest way to sell a service is to let people try it for themselves. So I knocked on doors and had my materials everywhere. And I offered people, I said, I'm looking for 50 who I can get in shape for 1 month, completely free. I said, I'm going to get in shape, work with you, do my full program, do my fitness boot camp for 1 month. And after that month, all I ask in return is that you tell your friends about me. Right. And so I physically spoke to about 200 women overall, in about 2 weeks, just to get 60 to say yes. 140 thought I was a crazy person. 60 said yes. 30 actually turned up.
Right.
So that next month, I was working with 30 clients. And at the end of the month, what was interesting was that about 10 or 15 of them actually referred more people to me, and they would pay my regular fee. And then the ones who couldn't refer anyone, they were so hooked on it anyway and loved the results. They just said, I've got no one to refer to you, but can I just pay you to carry on?
Nice.
Right.
Wow.
So that was it. By the end of the next month, I had 30 trial guinea pig customers, basically, or human billboards, as I called them. By the end of 90 days, I had 60 paying clients, paying me between $100 and $200 each.
Wow.
Nice.
And that was just working 3 days a week then at that point. It was after that is when I started getting a bit lost sight and got a bit greedy and started filling up hours on top of that, which is next to the other story, right? So that's what I would do. If you want to get out there and get customers, you've got to be where they are, follow their credit cards, look where they're spending money, partner up with those other corporations and businesses, and also then, if you can, just give a really, really irresistible offer that they come to working with you. And if you can show results in advance, then there's a good chance they're going to refer people, or they're just going to keep working with you anyway.
Nice. So I'm curious though, because obviously, right, it all sounds great, fine and dandy, but it took you, that was 30 days of not getting paid, right? It was 30 days of working hard and not necessarily bringing in any money. So how do you guard against discouragement? Because results are not always forthcoming. And plus, you said you had to go knock on a lot of doors. So do you have a secret weapon? Do you have something that you do to help keep yourself motivated?
Well, again, that was 30 days without money, but for me, that would actually been, 60 to 90 days without getting any real money coming in. So
that's scary.
For me, it was, as Tony Robbins says, you'll either move through inspiration or desperation. And for 80%, I think it's probably desperation. When things get really bad is when we wait to actually make things happen. So like I said, for me, I wasn't really inspired. I didn't have a vision board. I wasn't inspired by anything. I was just trying not to be on the streets. And, when you're faced with that, you can procrastinate for ages, but when reality hits you, the fear vanishes because there's no longer a choice, and you just do what you should have done a month ago. So, for me, that's what drove. I think that's what drives most entrepreneurs to get momentum going.
Yeah.
And I think that at that point where I failed then is where I kept taking on more people than I knew I could handle. I need, in your mind, right? You're like, oh, you're sacrificing time to take on more customers when really you should be looking at outsourcing or systemizing, but you do it anyway because it's like coming in too good now and too fast, right? That happens sometimes. That's the point, I think, where entrepreneurs, desperation can get you going, like moving away from pain can get you going and get that momentum, but you've got to be responsible enough at that point to then shift towards inspiration or shift towards, overcoming that fear about financial security in my case. And then thinking, right, the money's coming in, I've got some good customers, this is okay for now, let me keep some time free, not fill it with customers so I can focus on the next steps of business and how I can actually start providing the service without me being the bottleneck. But I didn't do that, right? Wow. So, I didn't do that. I kept being fueled by desperation. So you keep taking the money in even when you don't need to. And that's what lead problems down the road. So,
it's interesting that you're talking about this because I had a conversation with someone yesterday and we were talking about the hole that entrepreneurs try to fill. We have this hole, and so we think more money is going to fill the hole. We think more clients are going to fill the hole. And while those are good things, they're not what's filling the hole. They're not creating this. It's not what's going to create the long-term success. It's the stuff that's going to cause more health issues down the road. I have a dear friend, love her to pieces, and she contacted me and was telling me how she's struggling with high blood pressure. And now that we're listening, I'm I'm wondering if she's trying to fill a hole that, I don't know. She's a good friend, and I'm not definitely not a diagnostician by any stretch of the imagination. That's a really good point. I think we try to fill things with what we think will work, and in actuality, all we're doing is the hole is so big that we can't put enough into it until we start to deal with what the problem is, which in this case you're talking about creating systems so that you can be present to your customers, so that you can provide the services that you want to be able to provide. That's I don't know, that's worth the whole program to me. That's profound.
And one thing about that is, one important thing to mention about that is that, one thing I've seen as well, and I think was my problem, and I've seen a lot of other coaches, especially those like high six-figure guys now, is that, what happens is that because the entrepreneur did everything themselves to get that level of success, it's very hard to convince them to start it up because they now associated in their mind that they are the value. It's like this six-figure business is there because I did everything to get it there, which is true. But it's very, very hard to get them to change that belief because if they think that it's successful because of them, then they think with other people it's going to fail. So that's why it's extremely hard to shift that mindset if they especially, so that's why I teach them, if you set the foundations up to begin with now, so that, you know, it can be time leveraged from day one, then you might not have to go through that necessary tough process.
That's so true. I can see that. I can see that. You were smart enough to get yourself out of that trap. How, you know, one of the things that we've been talking about is, you know, talking about building trust, because what you're talking about, going in where the customer is, going in where the market is, really you have to start building trust. So how do you create the authority and the influence and that deep trust in your market, and especially as you're trying to outsource and you're trying to create more systems, Justin?
Okay, so, you know, whether you're selling a product, it's a restaurant, coaching, real estate, doesn't matter what business you're in. Ultimately, it's mainly down to three main factors. Is, I would say, you know, creates that. It's down to speaking, being seen as a speaker as fast as you can. So presenting doesn't mean to huge audiences, but just presenting. And because if you're a speaker on a topic, you're an instant credible expert.
True.
Because obviously you wouldn't be speaking otherwise. Even with book publishing now, you know, book publishing can be ghostwritten, and anyone can be, you know, a best-selling author in 5 minutes these days. So it's kind of lost a lot of that credibility.
Yeah.
You know, even if you've gotten a fantastic, amazing book, other people are coming on the market and doing these quick fix publishing things. But speaking, that's never going to be able, that's always going to, you know, show that you know what you're doing if you're a speaker, because you can't fake that.
No.
And the next thing then is being seen in the media. So whatever we might think of the media platforms, they still carry a lot of weight. And if people see you endorsed by the media platforms, they will instantly know that you have value to give and you're a credible expert as well. So getting out press releases in the local area or national publications, depending on the nature of your business. But getting press releases out and getting in this mass media, it's not as difficult as you might think it is. Doesn't have to cost money either. And the third thing I would say is just getting content marketing out there. It's really...
Uh-oh.
We may have lost Justin. Justin, are you still
webinars,
there?
anything. The more...
Justin, would you repeat that? We lost you just for like probably the most important thing you said. We didn't get that. Can you just repeat? You were talking about PRs and releases. So just pick us up from there.
Okay, so the second thing is, media, sending out press releases, being featured on those platforms. Even just a couple, you get featured in 2 or 3, and then you can carry those media icons with you for a long while. And so, you know, I mean, I've had my stuff featured in Forbes magazine and things like that, but that was a couple of years ago. Haven't been in Forbes since then, but it doesn't matter. I've still got the icons, and people, you know, it lasts a long time. Mm-hmm. And the third thing is just content marketing. So, you know, using social media, videos, blog posts, really just getting any type of content out there is the way forward. And content marketing is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger from this year onwards, definitely. So that's the 3 things any company can be doing to really be seen everywhere, online, offline, and in the media as well.
Nice. Well, I've got to say, Jason, I know we're pretty much running out of time here. I've personally gotten a lot of value out of you coming on. So I just want to personally say thank you so much for taking your time to join us today, because I think my assumption is always, if I get value out of it, all of our audience is going to just fall over this entire episode. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Yeah. You got it, guys. You're welcome.
Now, I do know Mom had mentioned you have a program at the beginning. Do you mind? I'm positive that our listeners at this point in time are going, maybe I should talk with this guy a little bit. So what do you have for them? How can they learn more about you, or what do you got for our guys?
Okay, so the program I offer is the Expert Authority Blueprint, and it's an online learning platform and community. It is mainly targeted at coaches, consultants, experts. Basically, if you have any high value information to share and you want to scale that up and impact more people. Basically, the program walks you through the 6 steps which are necessary, which is number 1, identifying your target customers. Number 2, putting that time leveraged program together for them. Number 3 is to start building a tribe, like an audience, a mailing list. Number 4 is how do you nurture and build a relationship with that list and warm them up, before you start offering sales. The 5th step is then the sales and conversions, how to enroll prospects into coaching clients through seminars, webinars, or even one-to-one selling. And then the final module then is about generating traffic into that funnel. So Facebook ads, getting in the media, organic social media, and how to get JVs. So it's like the whole top-to-toe system. It's everything I've done over the years. I kind of formulated it into a plan, and that's the whole program. And right now, it's a 12-month program. It's a 12-month mentoring program where you get access to all the modules of the program. There's hours of stuff in there, but each module, an hour and a half long, comes with worksheets and tutorials. And the best part is it comes then with a private Facebook community for 12 months. Because I know if people just buy the product, they're not going to use it, right?
Right. No, they're not. You're right.
Thing. So I believe more about the implementation than the information. So when you sign up to the program, you get the modular program, but you get my help and support in our private Facebook group for 1 year with weekly mastermind calls to keep you on check and keep you on track and to look over your materials so you have the best chance of actually doing the work, which is the main thing. And people can find out more about that at JustinDevonshire.com/immersion. It's called the Immersion Program.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to highly recommend that our listeners check it out. I talk with people all the time about the fact that it doesn't really matter who you are and what you are or what you're doing. We all need to be an expert in our field. And if you're not you may be an expert in your field, you may know more than everybody else, but if you're not recognized as that, it's not actually doing you all that much good. So I highly recommend, guys, check this out. If you have not yet joined our Facebook group, we will post the link to check this out in that Facebook group. And that is facebook.com/groups/black belt selling. Once again, Justin, it's such a pleasure to have another black belt joining us for Black Belt Selling. And maybe we can get you to come back again sometime. I feel like you've probably got more information to share, and I think our listeners would love to hear more from you.
Sure, that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys, for listening in. You guys, our listeners, make us what we are. You are the reason that we've kept doing this for as long as we've done this. We love talking to y'all every single week. Join us. Check us out. We post all kinds of cool stuff in the group. And plus, it's awesome to hear that we've got, people who enjoy hearing from us, too. So thank you, guys. In the meantime, join us again next week. We always bring on great guests as well as great content. And sometimes when Mom and I get going, it can be a little wild and crazy. But I encourage you to join us again. I'm Stephanie, here for Anna, telling you to go out there and make it a great week.